Hi, thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching BQ Prime. My name is Alex Matthew, and this is an earnings conversation. We're focusing in on a company we haven't spoken to before, but is very exciting to speak to this company. Ganesh Housing is the name of the company. It's a Gujarat-based developer. I'm joined by the managing director of the company, Shekhar Patel. Thank you so much, Shekhar, for taking the time. And I look at your numbers for the first quarter, 160 crore plus of profit, and the revenue stood at 271 crore. These are both multiples higher than the previous quarter as well as the same quarter last year. I'm just trying to understand how this is working. So before we get into some of the details of that, could you help us understand what drove this result and how we should read your numbers?
Uh, uh, we are a 60-year-old group, and my company is 30-year-old. And our one of the main business is investment in lands. So we have a huge investment in lands, and Ahmedabad market is doing pretty good after COVID. So land rates are going up, and we have utilized that historical land. We have sold some land, and that will help us. That cash flow will help us for our new big ticket size projects.
Okay.
So mainly profit is coming from the land sale.
Understood. So can you help us break that down then? What is the kind of land that you have right now in your inventory, and how much was sold? What was the realization that you received from that?
So almost this quarter, 80%, 80 to 85% revenue is from the land sale and 15% from the project.
Okay. And at the end of the quarter, what was the total land bank available to you, and how much land was sold?
I think in this quarter we have sold around 45 acres of land in an area called Godavi, which we are not going to utilize for our township projects. So it was just beside our township project. So that land we have sold, and there is one good development is coming there. So it will help us in our township project also. So it was a strategic sale.
So, as I understand it, this is a very deliberate move. You had some troubles during the pandemic. I think everybody had a difficult COVID-19, and you had about 650 crore worth of debt, which you reduced. This is also strategic. You sold some of the land bank that you have to get rid of that debt.
Yeah, we have already get rid of that debt, and now why we are selling this land, because we are launching two large ticket size project. One is ITSEZ called Million Mine Tech Park, and one is township near Godavi village. So for that, this land sale, the proceeds from this land sale will help us.
Understood. I was talking to my colleague and we were discussing your company, in fact, while I was preparing to speak to you. And I think the prevailing expectation is that you have enough land for the next 10 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a good land bank, and for our next 10 years projections for ITSEZ, we have a 60-acre land and 14 million square feet development, and that we are going to do in a phase-wise manner. So that will be for 7 years. So that project we have land already bought in the balance sheet. And the another project is Godavi Township, that is 500 acres. We are going to launch a first phase in the fourth quarter of this year, and we'll do launching of 100-acre first phase, and there will be 5 phases, 100 acre each. We'll launch it every year or as per the market conditions.
Okay, let's talk about the ongoing projects then, because I'm looking at your investor presentation as we speak. One is what you've already mentioned, the Million Mines. The first phase is expected to be completed in the first half of this year, right? And there's also a residential project which you're completing in the first half of this year. So could you give us an understanding as to how much you're likely to book in the first half of this year, both from residential sales as well as from commercial? And the second part of the question also is that you've got significant completed projects, 17 residential projects. Is there any pending inventory that will also likely be sold? And what are the kind of realizations that you're expecting in the first half?
Okay, let me correct something because Million Mind SEZ project we have launched last quarter 1.3 million square feet.
Okay.
It's a commercial space. Construction is ongoing. We have completed 15% construction, and that commercial project we are going to give on a lease basis. We are not going to sell on that.
Right.
So we will create our lease portfolio in a commercial project. That's our first thing. Second thing, our ongoing residential project called Malabar Exotica that we are going to complete in second or third quarter. Depends upon the final approval from the government. Our work is 85 to 90% complete. So that project profit will book in this year, maybe in a third quarter or a fourth quarter. I don't know exactly about it. But we'll book that project, and that overall that project is sold 100%. Selling amount is somewhere around 250 crore.
Okay. You've got...
the second part.
Understood. Mr. Patel, you've got quite a lot of work that is currently underway and that is planned in the coming years. But at the same time, you have decided to strategically bring debt to zero. And the latest quarter, that is the first quarter, you have decided to sell some land as a strategic decision in order to generate that cash that will fuel your further growth.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Am I right in assuming that you don't intend to raise debt at all?
For this project, for first phase of ITSEZ, we don't want to raise the loans.
Okay.
And for township, I think we'll not require to raise the capital for that project as well. So for this year, I don't think we are going to raise capital.
Okay. What I have noticed, and I was looking at the quarter performance going back to the first quarter of last year, is that there is a little bit of lumpiness in the revenues as well as in the profitability. The profit number, you mentioned why it is in this quarter. But I'm just trying to understand, when you increase, as you pointed out, first phase comes on stream, you will lease it out, you'll get annuity revenue from that. Your various other commercial projects will come on stream. At what point do you see that there will be a more steady state of affairs with regard to revenue generation and profitability?
Yeah, it's a good question, because land sale is some quarter you sold some land, some quarter you don't have revenue. So that's a lumpiness. But from we are launching now residential projects in next 3 quarters. We are launching 3 residential projects. That will be around 1,000 crore projects, and commercial project is going on. We will launch a second commercial phase in the first quarter of next year. So this will take another 3 to 4 quarters to stabilize the revenues from the projects. Land revenues will be continue for next 3 to 4 quarters.
You mean to say that you will continue to sell land in the coming 3 to 4 quarters?
Some deals are sweet deals, so we don't miss that deals. So we will continue.
So am I right in understanding, Mr. Patel, that your business is one to acquire land parcels, to develop them,
Yes,
and also strategically to sell them? That is going to continue as an ongoing basis?
Yeah, that is one of the vertical of my company, and that gives us a very good return, and that gives the company and the investor very good return. So why don't we do?
Okay, so I had asked this question, but perhaps it got missed because there were several questions that I asked. But I'm asking again, as things stand, maybe at the end of June 30 or end of the June quarter, what is the land bank that the company has?
We are continuously investing in the land and selling the land, so I cannot give you the exact number, but it's more than 550 acres or something.
And this is all in Gujarat?
All in Gujarat and all in Ahmedabad.
Understood. Okay, so we've got a fair sense. What about, is there any projection that you can give us with regard to margins? Because as you've pointed out, there can continue to be certain amount of lumpiness because of sale in land parcel in one quarter or the other. So that will also affect your margin picture, right?
Yes.
So what can we expect? What is a steady state for you?
Sorry, I missed the question because.
So I'm just asking from the perspective of your investor, in order to get some level of predictability. You're pointing out that land sales can be lucrative, and you will continue to do that because you have a very substantial amount of land. Your bank is over 500 acres, as you pointed out. But there needs to be, probably from your investor's perspective, some amount of predictability. So from your steady state of business, what kind of operating metrics would you say that the investor should focus on? EBITDA margins, what range should they expect it?
We have given the investors the overall 7 years projection, 7 years what we are going to do in 7 years. And we have given that data and that numbers based on the land what we have right now in our book. So that will give them the 80% clear picture of what is company is planning to do in next 5 to 7 years. So I think for my investors, this we have given them pretty much clear picture what what their company is going to next 7 years.
No, absolutely. And you're talking about the upcoming commercial projects, at least. You've listed out how much you're expected to get on a per phase basis, so that's very clear. I think we will have to touch base with you again at the end of next quarter to try and understand where things are going. But it seems like a lot of levers are at play for you at this moment. And yeah, please.
Yeah, real estate market. I think for India it will be a very good market for next 10 years, and India is now on a sweet point. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Patel. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.